All right, we live?
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Finance Performance Committee, the final one for the triennium. And we'll move straight into apologies. We have one apology from Councillor Griffiths, and I'll move that apology be accepted. We accept it, Councillor Holmes. All those of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. He's carried. Unwell.
Sorry, Chair. Saw him just out.
Yes, he left feeling unwell.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Any declarations of interest to be declared at this meeting? No. We'll move on to item number 3, public forum. We have no members of the public wishing to speak. So it takes us to item number 4, the proposed financial carryovers report. Did you have any opening comments for this one?
No, thank you. Nothing to add.
We'll open it up for questions. Any questions on the report? No. Councillor Archer.
Through you, Chair, I had a question about carryovers, how they work when they are debt funded. So if a debt funded amount is carried over, is it still drawn down debt? Or is it not drawn down until it's actually used?
Through you, Chair, it is the latter. It's not drawn down until it's used. And we can't carry over access to debt unless we carry it over. So we need to carry the monies that we're going to spend over into the budget for the next year. And then once we do the work, we access the debt and draw down the debt. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Councillor Swallow.
I have a couple of questions, if that's all right, and it's on the Parks and Reserves. And it says that there is probably establishment of a trust to run this project and their funds should be carried over. So do we think that's the Ramataka Cycleway signage, sorry? Yeah, on page 8.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
the signage. Yep.
So that's the 265,000.
Yes. Yep.
Review the question. What?
So do we think it's likely to be a trust that's going to be formed, or will we continue to do that?
Through you, Chair, I can answer that.
Yeah.
Wellington Regional Council has put a paper through theirs.
Right.
All other councils involved in the Rumataka Trail
Yes.
are part of those discussions about what a trust might look like.
Right.
And in the triennium, we'll be bringing something to our council here in Upper Hutt around what that might look like, or whether Upper Hutt wants to be part of it.
Okay, thank you for that. So we're all just through you two. So we're just flagging that might be something that goes on and that it's all to do with the Rumataka Trail.
And once again, through you, Chair, that the trust through MB is able to access a lot more funding than we
Right.
can as individual entities.
Oh, I totally agree. Okay, and I have one more question, if that's right, through you, Chair. So it's the very last one, the CIR water tank replacement depreciation reserve and that. So how many tanks have been identified, and is this project, this project is underway, so how many tanks is it that we're doing?
Through you, Chair. The project is, firstly, the project's carried over because schools were identified.
Yep.
And then it was found that schools didn't have the great need at the moment. And so one tank has been identified, 25,000 litre tank.
Right.
And that's going to be.
Right. And it's and are 80K? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yes,
Just want to mention that.
it was identified Bridge Road.
Yeah, thank you. That's all my questions.
Thank you. Any further questions, Councillor Wheeler?
Just want a clarification just on the subsidised roading, the arterial cycleways, that's at 600,000. Can you just enlighten me what that entail a bit?
Taken from the bottom on subsidised road.
Okay.
So. That was that was originally the cycleways down by St Pat's, running down there, according to my notes. And then we deferred it because of works being undertaken there. And we also deferred it because of the deferral of the Silver Spring Bridge replacement.
Okay, nothing to do with the rail corridor? Or is that net to that, is that all part of that?
Originally, it wasn't to do with the rail corridor. But it could be. So it could be changed, is what I've got in my notes.
Alright, okay, right.
Councillor Holdens.
Chair, through the rural roading high priority safety upgrades have been reprioritised. I'm just given that those in the rural area would see that as being high priority safety upgrades. There's workers in the planning phase, is that we're expecting that to
For each year, there was internally, there was a restructure last year and change of personnel. And the amount of money provided was quite small. They have now started to work on widening the carriageway and Mangaroa. My apologies. Mangaroa Valley Road. So they're widening the carriageway there is what they. Sorry.
Councillor Hammond.
Chair, Coach Park Bridge pipework, will that only go ahead if we get satisfactory tenders, and as I understand now, the tenders are too high?
You're correct. That's correct.
That's correct.
Well, just a preface on that. Does that just mean that it then is deferred to the next LTP when that project is, the project budget is rescoped given the market price?
Through you, Chair, that would, I can't say for sure, but that would be the normal practice.
Okay.
The situation's changed since we originally looked at this. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Councillor
Yeah,
Hammond.
it does. Yeah, thank you. The only other one I've got is the Marybank board detour. That's open now, walking through without anything being spent on it. Is what's planned for that?
No, through you, Chair, the Marybank boardwalk's been, the Marybank area has been closed, always been closed. So the money will be spent elsewhere, but I defer to.
Through on the alternate a little bit further along, there's an alternative that is not ideal for cycles, etc. like that.
Oh, yeah.
The bottom part there, which most of which is on private land, is unsafe and has been unsafe for quite a period of time. And after getting a geotechnical report, the decision has been made to close that and spend a little bit of money on the alternate that is there and making it more accessible and usable for all modes of transport.
It's open now.
Yes, yeah. But it's got steps and everything in it, so it's making it so you can cycle down, do other things like that, which it's a little bit limiting at this present point in time.
Any further questions?
I'll move the recommendations being.
Moved by councillor Carson, seconded by myself. Recommendation is that we receive and note the report and authorise chief executive be given the authority to carry over unutilized funding for the items listed in the schedules for financial carryovers based on his assessment of the financial positions as of each item as at 30 June 2025. All those in there can say aye.
Aye.
Contrary no. It's carried. We move to the report titled Council Loan Requirements 2025 to 2026. Any opening comments?
Through you, Chair, just two minor edits that were missed in the final review. Page 10, at the very bottom, it says it is appropriate to include resolution B in the annual borrowing resolution. It's actually resolution G. And then on page 11, net debt is top and 10. Net debt as a percentage of the total revenue will not exceed 250. That is last year's figure. It is 240. Thank you.
Any further questions? Any questions? Councillor Swabs.
I'm going to page 11, and it's going down to the land transport non-subsidy. The CBD revitalisation and paving, which is a $2 million. I thought that was already identified in the LTP. So why are we identifying it again and approving that we actually do that when it was originally done? We didn't rescope it in 25, 26, this last one. So I was just wondering why it was there again when I thought we'd already done the approval.
Review Chair, that's correct. This paper is asking for the ability to borrow the monies so we can access borrowing if the project goes ahead. So the project's ready to go. The plan is there to do the project.
Right.
This paper is asking council permission to borrow the money that is also provided for in the annual plan to do the works. So this is just matching the monies needed to fund the project with the monies already allowed for the capital works.
So then it's confirming that there has been no increase in price. It's the same as what we had agreed in the LTP.
Through the chair, I can't say there's been no increase in price. All I can say is there has been no increase borrowing monies.
Okay, right, no, that's good to qualify. Well, that's what I thought, yeah, we do. So,
This is just to
Yep.
provide the staff the ability to borrow.
okay, so my next question is, I wonder the value, why when we're going to local water done well, that we're thinking that we still have to do an investigation or a business case for water meters. I didn't think that would be a good use of money when, you know, we could use that money for something else when we know local water done well coming down is looking at a 7-year period that it's going to take to install water meters. So why are we spending $569,000 on a business case?
I think that train has left the station in terms of we've committed now and the work's being done or underway.
I didn't think it had, because this is approving to do that.
For the ability to pay for it, we haven't been invoiced yet.
Because if we step back through the chair, in the long-term plan, what Upper Hutt did is put it in OPEX funding.
Yeah.
Yes.
All our other councils put it in debt
That's
funding.
right.
And so in our annual plan, we use the opportunity to debt fund it like everyone else, because that debt will transfer to the water entity and out of here. Whereas OPEX would have been rate fund for us.
Okay,
So it is aligning ourselves with everyone else.
okay. No, thank you for that explanation.
But the project is underway
Yeah.
and it'll be good to pull out now.
Okay, and I have.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm now on page 12. So local water done well entity. Is that a one-off cost, or is that going to come back as another cost? Is this the total cost of us sitting around the table doing the local water entity done well? I just want to understand what that money covers.
Okay.
There you go. I was
You
going to say, I imagine we'll be asked for more.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
So. Through Chair, if we step back into the annual plan process, there was request for various funds for local water done well.
Yeah.
This council decided to put 1.36 million in there as a debt funding, be debt funded to fund the costs that we are incurring now. Will that be all that this council has asked for? Okay.
So
Just to clarify that, if it's being debt funded, this all will be transferred to the entity anyway.
Yes. And that again, it goes back, it is the same logic as the water meter business case. We have aligned Upper Hutt with the other councils that are going into metro.
And so when the government did Three Waters, it was loading up those entities with debt to start themselves up. But since the entity doesn't exist yet formally, it can't load up debt, so we're doing it on its behalf, and then it will get intake that at a later
And
date.
so there is quite a few setup costs, establishment costs that are being incurred, which you would expect, legal costs, corporate costs. And those are all being funded, as you say, by councils. There is no need to set funds.
So just another question. So when it came to us that we had a $262,000 figure that we needed to find to set up the Commerce Commission and Te Mata Arawai, which was done on a price per head of population done on the states. Yeah. Was that not able to be covered by this because you came hunting for more money?
It was a levy.
That's a levy for to you. And all councils have put that in as a general payment.
Right, and are there any more levies then that are going to come through or any other costs like that? I mean, you know, that came out of left field and we had to find it, so it was budgeted. So I'm just wondering if any more of those things that come at us from that, is this money able to cover?
I guess we can't foresee the unknown,
No,
but there are no known.
There's no
levies
known,
on its way.
there's no known levies at the moment. I mean, we're not, officers, as far as I'm aware, are not aware of any additional costs that are coming from central government. There will be costs though to establish the entity.
right. It's just that I just think that it's a bit poor that we've got to, but I understand if it's debt funded, it does get passed over.
The levy was a different situation because it's an ongoing OpEx cost that we can't debt fund.
Ongoing,
Yeah, it's an annual levy to fund the annual operations of Te
Okay.
Mata Arawai.
then I
But
misunderstood that. I
that
thought that-
eventually will be billed by the entity.
Yeah, through you,
Because
Chair.
it's
Yeah.
a water service.
It will go, so it's with us, it's a levy, it will be ongoing, it will be with councils until the water CCO is set up. And when the water CCO is set up and running, that levy will be transferred and charged by the water levy for the set to. Right.
So the next year, when we hand over everything else, but we're still collecting the money for them, we still have to find another $262,000 annually.
That's yet to be determined, but I would, at this moment, I'd say yes, but I don't know the answers because we're still working through how this transition works and what goes when. I don't mean, I'm not trying to not answer the question, I just.
No,
know the
but-
answer.
And the problem is that it's been done on a population basis.
Yeah.
There's no means of charging on a
I know.
population basis, so hopefully the government pull their head in and realise it's not workable for any council in the country.
And that's why I think it's important for us to know then that we've got to build it in somewhere, somehow, because we can't do it
Yeah.
per head. Okay.
I'll move the recommendations on paper be accepted.
Were there any further questions, councillor Wheeler? Do the mover.
Just on 12, I just wanted clarification on the going back to the CBD revitalisation and moving. Do we have a specific date when that starts? And I'm thinking down the track, liaising with the retailers and affected retailers that'll be coming into certain periods. So do we have a date to it?
Through Chair, I hope come back to you on that one.
No. Oh, sure. No.
Don't.
Sunset
Stu.
infrastructure, yeah. We haven't got dates as well, businesses have been asking as well, and they're just waiting to hear from the infrastructure thing.
Okay.
The main response that we've had to date, from the team has been around trying to rejig the project to work within the budget that's assigned to it, and that's proving to be challenging.
The key was making sure that the retailers know, because the last thing you want to do is actually do the paving the week before Christmas. It's happened before, so so you make sure that everyone knows well in advance.
Starts tomorrow.
But the other thing is that being a southern hemisphere country, we have to do some works in the summer, but I agree Christmas is not ideal. But yeah, we should do the bulk of the works in the dry months.
Do we have a bylaw? I know other towns, bordering towns to us, neighbouring towns to us have a bylaw that no infrastructure work can happen in the month of December. Do we have anything like that?
No.
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 Retailers will just walk onto city floor like they did 15 years ago, because I remember they held it up in conjunction, because they did it a week before Christmas, all that brick paving.
Absolutely.
They did it a week before Christmas. I couldn't believe it. And the colours all matched up on here. It was more than 15 years ago.
Any further questions? Councillor Hammond.
New policy.
Yeah, thank you. Page 9, B, have we got an interest rate on that overdraft, and are we using it at the moment?
Through you, Chair, never used it. And I would, I know it, but off the top of my head, I'll have to come back to you. It's not significant, but we've never accessed it.
It helps us meet liquidity
Yeah, it
requirements.
makes liquidity requirements. It's
Well,
good, so.
Through you, Chair, you incur in a facility, you establish a fee and you rate a monthly fee for it.
Sure, it's been priced very sharply.
I was gonna say, we incur a line fee for having it, and we've, in my time, 2 years ago, we pulled it down. So we do.
So,
Councillor Swales.
so just, thank you, Chair. So just a question on here, the cap that would apply would be under the manual of delegations? Or if? In the event.
Yes, well, yes, the manual delegations will
Yeah.
cover everything, so yes.
Yeah. Okay,
And also the treasury management policy.
Yeah, the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just thought I'd check, thank you.
Councillor Hammond. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
It's the last one.
Your last one, yeah.
No, of the term, I mean.
Yeah, page 11, item 11. Where our indebtedness at 214.5. I'm not quite sure, but it's just down from the 240 that we were 3 years ago.
No, that's the amount that we're indebted.
Indebted,
Yeah.
but not the amount that we still haven't drawn down.
So I think,
Did you say there was a figure of 240 million a few years ago that we owed?
Yeah, 30 years ago.
Nah, I don't
No.
think that's correct.
no, so 3 years, it's funny you asked, 3 years ago, this council had debt of 49 million.
Yeah.
Then it had debt of 55 million, and then it had debt of 120 something million. And then this year, the debt is 214. So over 4 years, the debt has risen substantially, which is why we now watch and talk about having an internal headroom limit of 240% of our revenue.
And just noting that 240%, our actual limit's 280% with the LGFA.
Well,
That's sort of-
S&P.
Oh, S&P, sorry. So we can borrow more, but we've self-imposed that to be prudent.
Yeah.
Sort of buffer for a rainy day. Any further questions? No, we have a mover and councillor Carson, and I'll second the paper. We've got the 8 recommendations. And I'll move them all together. Councillor Carson moves them all together. All those of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Contrary no. Carried. Moves us to the Ratepayer Assistance Scheme. This is a report I asked for. If you'd seen the paper, it's a scheme that's been set up around the country to help with the rates affordability crisis that's going on nationally. It's to provide ratepayers with some options potentially to make the rates burden a little bit more manageable. As well as development contributions, and there's some other features there as well. And unless there's any opening comments on there.
It's an information paper.
Yeah. There's still a lot of work to be done nationally on this. As well as some legislation hopefully to come that will open up for questions or comments. Councillor Swales.
I like you, I'm pleased this paper came because I was aware that Hutt City Council had signed it off, as well as other councils around the country, and I was looking at Queenstown. So I think the opportunity is quite helpful in the time that a lot of people are finding that their disposable income is shrinking over a period of time. There are 3 options here. As we had a conversation before this meeting open, maybe we don't have to allow the criteria to be open for all 3, But certainly I would like to have a wait and look, see. I don't think we have the ability to put any money in, but you can still join it without putting any money in. And I think it's a great scheme that we should look and actually put it out to the community to see what their thoughts are. Because it would certainly help some people in dire straits. I like it.
Yeah,
In my opinion, it's premature to advise the community, except for just saying this is an information paper because we're still on the feasibility study.
Yeah.
And it may not even get off the ground.
yeah, there's still some legislation to come, but should that come, I'm sure we'll be back. Well, not me, but you lot. Councillor Ultra.
Through you, Chair, because this is effectively set up like a reverse mortgage in a way, and depending on how home values hold up against that, it could be a slippery slope for some people too. I'm just wondering if this is being designed to be a better deal for people than what the banks can offer.
Through here, page 32. Fourth bullet point, with the high credit rating, the RSA would raise very low cost long-term financing from capital markets and pass this on to ratepayers. Ratepayer financing would be between 1% and 1.5% lower than standard mortgage rates. So that's the answer.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the piece of legislation I referred to that needs to happen, change to allow this is that if this was in place now, it'd effectively be a credit contract between the scheme and the ratepayer. And there's a whole lot of rules that other banks and financial institutions have to abide by. So we're hoping for this to be an exclusion from that and be governed in a slightly different way.
I think in para 35, 36 and 37, if I can guide you to those. And the three critical points. The minister agreeing, the change in legislation and timing.
Well, I guess that's what I said, but
Yeah.
The key though, sorry, is 37, where it's not part of the state agenda yet, so it's not going to happen in a hurry.
no. I had a question about for the development contributions or levies, whatever they end up as. I think it's actually a bit of a risk to allow them over 30 years because the only way I can see that to make sense is build to rent housing where there's a long-term holding by the developer. But most developers want to get these things sold as quickly as possible. So allowing them to pay them over 30 years, they could fold the next year and then who gets that? I wonder, I mean, I'm sure there's sort of a preferential or a secured creditor, but
Yeah, because they don't have the same power as the rating, the TA.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
That's the key that allows them to keep the money.
Right. Any further questions or comments? No, too easy. I'll move by his worship the man and seconded on myself. All those of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
I agree, no. It was carried. And so we move to the debtors report on page 33. Did we get those changed? Oh, yeah. So yeah, just noting that the graph at the top of page 35 of the first edition of the report is incorrect, and our library debt is not in the hundreds of thousands. That is the incorrect graph with the right label.
Apologise for the duplication. That's been replaced and is on Stella.
Yeah, and the public version on the website will be updated as well. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so yeah, we're in the thousands. So make sure Councillor Wheeler was not gonna have any questions? Councillor Hammond.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. There does seem to be a creeping debt if we talk on page 35 down on the rate of arrears. What I'm seeing is that correct here it's a quite a strong inference of a creeping debt on this.
It goes the other way.
Rates arrears.
It's
Going down. June, through Chair, 30 June 25, total arrears of 1.475662.
It reads right to left.
All right.
We're accountants, we read the wrong other way around.
Like the Japanese. But yeah, one thing that we do note is that the amount of units has gone down, so the average debt has increasing, so there are bigger average amounts with fewer people.
Yep.
And that's just because some of those people's situations just haven't turned around, and the problem wasn't.
I think, if I can suggest that page 12 really guides, para 12, sorry, really guides for the.
And interestingly, we can see with the percentages there that despite treatment having the big number that catches a few eyeballs, actually as a percentage of units, it's about par. It's just because it's got most of our properties in it.
Yeah. Percentage gives them.
Whereas the ones with the highest ones are actually in the rural space. Councillor Wheeler.
Is there a specific reason why Cleveland is 157 compared to it's quite an anomaly there?
Say again, sorry.
Cleveland's so high.
Treatment.
Yeah.
The 157 units.
Is there a reason?
Well, it's just because there's the most units
I
there.
think as the chair was just saying, it's the number of units there, whereas if you look at it as a percentage of the suburb, it's actually 5%. So it's holding its own, if I can put it so blunt.
It's probably a lot more smaller rental units or.
There's quite a few businesses in that area down Wakatiki Street.
These are just the residential ones on
They
that.
just residential.
Wakatiki wouldn't be treated some.
Close.
But yeah, it's just where most of our dwellings are. And sometimes our rating system, what our rating system refers to as Trentford, might be different to what people anecdotally know. Yeah. Any further questions or comments?
The only thing I was going to say was, the chair was on point 5, $12,000 that's been paid.
And are we seeing more people proactively coming in to talk about these situations?
Yes, we are. It's been quite busy on the rates thing. I think 0.9 on the rates rebates. They will process more of those this year than last year. And that's sort of an indication of people are engaged in the need to address their rates liabilities earlier here. So that's what I'm putting it, but we are having, they are the yes.
That's a central number, rates rebate.
Yeah. But a lot of people applied for this earlier, whereas you can apply for it until 29 June and still get the full amount. Whereas this year definitely applied for it earlier.
That's good.
So.
Councillor Swales.
I just want to say with regard to that rates rebate that DIA did, which is $805, that they did lift the amount that you could earn. And I just want to congratulate the rates team for actually going out and helping, because the criteria that the individuals had to provide was a little bit more onerous, particularly for our elderly to get, and the team both downstairs at our front office and the rates team have been really, really helpful and supportive in guiding them through. So I just think that should be acknowledged.
Yep.
That they do a great team. Thank you.
Any further questions? No, I'll move the report, seconded by Councillor Hammond. All those of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. It's carried. And we move to the financial management report as at 30 June 2025. Any problems in this one? No. Take the report as read. And don't all ask your questions at once. Councillor Alter.
Through you, Chair. I just wanted to ask about, I was looking at point 18 when I was thinking this, the rate funding statement overview. And my question is whether the growing population is making much difference to the overall revenue and availability of rates funding. It's something that the community often asks, is we've
Yeah,
got a
growth.
growing population and how much are those additional rates making a contribution and improving things?
Through your chair, I mean,
No, you, after you.
I was- council only collects the money it needs to do its business for the year. And then, so it is about, if you go to section 100 and 101 of the Act, it's about collecting the money required to deliver the services that council promised and to deliver. And then we go through the process of recovering that cost from ratepayers in the form of rates. And if there's more ratepayers, each ratepayer pays a smaller piece of the pie. And so if you've got a growing population, then that works quite well. Upper Hutt works at its plans to have growth of 1.5% for growth for rates purposes. And in the last 4 years, we have exceeded growth of 1.5% for rates purposes. So in short, to answer your question, more people help because each person pays less, but council still collects the same amount of money. That said, that's a very straightforward linear view of it, because you could argue more people put pressure on the infrastructure and require the costs to be collected to go up. So it is not that linear.
And when you say about we've exceeded that 1.5%, we're not exceeding it excessively. It's the 2%, right?
We're not at 2%, right? We're just sitting at about 1.7.
Right. So the amount of growth that people might think is not,
It's not phenomenal.
it's not necessarily materially going to bring any people's rates down, and it often coincides with rates increasing anyway, so they don't really feel a discount, so to speak.
The hard thing is people don't see it because you wouldn't know what it was like if you didn't have the growth. So
Yes. Councillor Castle, did you have a question?
No.
Councillor Swales.
Hi, I'm going to page 41 and it's para 23 and it's subsidised roading. So when I look at that and I look at the network costs and the maintenance program that and the reduction in the amount of money that we got from New Zealand Transport Agency, are we in that position because we've got more road repairs and more potholes that have been identified, which seem to have increased quite substantially, you know, in this past year, or is it other maintenance that has caused this?
My understanding, and I can clarify further,
Yeah.
but my understanding is that we were required to do more maintenance because of potholes and
That's what I thought.
we had undertaken to do that work and started that work. And we maximised our NZTA claim and there was more money which spent through it. And it was of the nature of potholes and that type of work.
And that's what I thought, and I thought that the public need to know that actually we are addressing those issues, even though that we had a shortfall from NZTA. And that we have a limited pot of money and resource that we can do in this reactive maintenance. So
It's one of those things that when we talk about any further cuts coming from level of service, we're not always talking about the library hours.
No.
We're talking about
Yes.
the actual material things that,
absolutely,
do we fill this pothole or
Yeah.
and charge people more for it?
Yeah.
Or do we leave it empty and
Yeah.
keep rates at that same level?
To be fair to officers and staff, is we, don't know if I should say this in public, but we put in our maximum claim to NZTA.
Yeah.
And we even tried to claim beyond and
Right.
we,
okay,
so that's my notes here, that we went as far as, you know, no, you've had your bit.
Yeah.
So they continued to do the work because it was required.
Yeah.
And council paid.
and I think that's important for the community to know that it's a 49-51 split, but you know, when your funding has been cut as dramatically as you do, but the maintenance work still needs to be done out there. So thank the team for doing that, and it's good to explain. So my next question is, I know we're always out of sync with 3 waters, right? And we hear that, and that's the explanation. But hopefully when we get to this new entity, whatever it's called, we'll all be in cycle with each other, that we don't have to explain that our reporting cycles are different, and hence the, you know, the over budgets or the under budgets and where the money's going, yeah,
It's not necessarily a reporting,
period cycle.
is it?
Through to, it is always different because the cut-offs are always different.
Different.
It should not be that complicated. It's,
And my other question,
Yeah,
if that's
also
okay,
is-
it's under sustainability activities, para 29. So are we able to put any over funds from the waste levy into general reserve funds?
it doesn't go into general reserve, it goes into its own reserve.
Okay, so it is.
It's managed by the Waste Minimisation Act.
Yeah, so, okay, I just wanted to make sure that that's what it was. Yep, thank you.
But one of my queries persistently is that, are we using it for as many different activities as possible? Are we thinking outside the box in terms of everything that's linked to waste? Are we using that waste levy before we give it out as a grant?
I don't think I'm the person
Okay.
answer that
Yeah.
question.
But no, Tim's not yet, that's all right.
Can I add to that actually, Chair? We have 20 points in our waste minimisation project, and one has been totally completed, and that's because we're not going to curbside recycling. But there are a number of initiatives. We're already halfway through the agreed plan that we need to have that's legislative. And I think that not enough resources are put into actually doing that, which I think brings back to your point. And the ELT manager said that some of that money was going to be put into putting another personnel on board to actually, so that they could start delivering on those. So I hope that's what's happening.
Questions? I saw one over this side. Councillor Hammond, did you have a question? Yep.
Yes, I did, just back and try to get back to it. To the subsidised roading and then the non-subsidised roading. One was over and one was under, does that equal itself out? We spend what we would have spent on some.
Doesn't quite, doesn't quite equalise itself out. I mean, I think it goes to the point that they're different activities. So it's more about the activities that are undertaken. Financially, it's, as you can see, one's under by 298 and one's over by 206. So they're not financially, not too different. In my language, but they're different activities, so you can't quite equate it like that because one's.
So we still look at it as one being bad and one being good, not that one subsidises the other, so we don't.
No, there's different criteria
There's
for what's
criteria,
subsidised and what's not.
Yeah, it's criteria that puts the projects into the different areas. So, yeah.
And we're spending more on subsidised roading because we're being subsidised.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year, the NZTA, as I say, we maximised our claim and we had work still to do, so the guys still did it.
Councillor Keary.
Next year, when's our next credit rating review?
Happened on the 20th of August, I believe.
We've been visited on the 20th of August and we will get the findings in October.
Okay.
For the election?
I don't know.
Well, won't be reported for them, but yeah.
You don't have a crystal ball, right?
Any further questions?
Yep.
Councillor Carson.
Thank you. On page 44, we have a unspent of 1.968 million. When do we get to approve that as a carryover? Is that after we 31st of October when we do the annual report?
Which line item is that on, please, Councillor?
Well, it's on page 44 on my page.
Oh, the total, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, there's a total of 1.968 million. That's a carryover, I would say, from the budget. When does the councillors get to approve that?
Seriously,
It's not.
It's not a carryover.
Dropped it. Through Chair, it'll drop to general reserve, it'll drop to reserves.
Or just go into general reserves, but don't you approve that? I recall that there was a paper last time around that we did. That we approved what went into general reserves.
Right, through you, Chair, we just going back to para 7. Sorry.
But it's unaudited as well. That's the other.
Para 7 of page 6 of the papers, proposed carryovers and actions carryovers.
Oh, the first agenda item.
Yes, sorry. Point 7, council will note the majority of capital expenditure items in the proposed carryovers list with one operational request. And that was an NZTA match of targeted rates for transport. And that's all we're carrying over. The rest of the monies that are underspent have go to reserves and we reset ourselves and we start the budget again.
Sorry, Chair, where does it say that? Is that in our financial policy? That it goes straight to reserves without coming through council? Well, I mean, saying what authority?
The council here.
When council.
What delegated authority?
When council approve the annual report,
Yeah.
that's how it will be treated, which is.
So that's my 31st of October question. Okay, fine, thank you.
I think to add to that, officers are saying there is no need to carry that money into spending it next year.
Savings.
It's savings.
Happy to move by councillor Holderness. Seconded, please. Councillor Carey. All those of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. It is carried. That brings us to the end of the public portion of our meeting. It is 5:19, no, 5:18. Thank you very much. I'll move that we move into public excluded. The second, please, councillor Holderness. All those that opinion say aye. Contrary, no. Carried.